You may or may not be addicted to sex. How do you know if you're a sex addict? This video is going to help you find out. There are indicators of sex addiction, very clear things that you can look at. I'm going to give you 7 indicators that may mean that you're a sex addict. Sex addiction can really affect a relationship. I'm going to give you a free resource at the end of this video that's going to help you work through the problems that a sex addiction can cause for a relationship. So stick around to the end. I was working with a guy years ago who had 14 DUIs. 14 times he got busted for driving drunk. And he was in my program and he was talking to me and he was wondering whether or not he had a problem with addiction. Think about that. This guy had been to prison because he drank so much and drove so much. Yet he was still wondering if he was an addict. So with addiction, it's common to be in denial about whether or not you have an addiction or not. It's a hard reality to face. Sex addiction is a bit different than alcohol addiction or drug addiction. One of the reasons why it's different is because we all naturally are sexual beings. It's totally normal to be sexual. So what is the difference between being a healthy sexual being and being addicted to sex, and when sex becomes really problematic in your life? Calling somebody a sex addict who doesn't have a sex addiction can be very destructive. In fact, I see it a lot in highly religious, highly rigid cultures where somebody thinks that they have a major problem just because they have sexual thoughts and sexual feelings. If they see somebody at the grocery store that they're attracted to, or they think about something sexual, they think that they're sinning and doing something horrible and that they have a major problem. The reality is everybody is attracted to people sexually. It's a taboo thing to say. A lot of people don't like to hear that. But the reality is that's the truth. There's a difference between being sexually attracted to people and having those sexual feelings and acting out in addiction. So now let's talk about the 7 indicators of addiction that are way different than normal, healthy human sexuality. One of the first indicators of addiction is that tolerance builds up. So what I mean by that is if, let's say you're looking at pornography or you've gone to a strip club or whatever it is, after a while, the thing that you're doing won't do it for you anymore. And you have to push a limit. So maybe you might go from looking at pornography at home to visiting strip clubs to contacting women or contacting people to act out with. That's an indicator that tolerance is building up. You're changing your behavior and you're looking for a hit because the old way of getting that hit is not there anymore. That's an indicator of addiction. Another thing to look at is an increase in rate and duration. Are you spending more time? Are you spending more energy? Do you have to get that fix every day? Are you spending time that you normally wouldn't, time that you'd be spending with your kids, but you're going to look at pornography, or you're acting out on your phone, or whatever it is? But are you spending more and more time, and are you doing it more and more often? That's an indicator of addiction. The next indicator to look at is compulsivity. So healthy sexuality is about being sexual. It's about connecting to people. Compulsive sexual behavior is when you might not want to do something, but you do it anyways. You go forward with the behavior because you just have to. That is a sign of addiction. In fact, I think that's the best sign of addiction. Sometimes addiction is defined in all these different ways, but a simple way to look at addiction is doing something that you don't want to do. That's compulsive behavior. If you're finding these indicators helpful to figure out whether or not you have an addiction or not, then please like this video. All right, the next one to look at is what I call unmanageability. And what that is when, because of these behaviors, you're getting certain consequences, those consequences start building up. They just start adding on to each other. So maybe you have a spouse who's threatening divorce, or you have legal problems, or you have problems at work and you're going to lose your job, but you continue to do this behavior anyways. That's living an unmanageable life where the addiction is starting to take over your life. Another indicator of addiction is isolation. The opposite of addiction is connection. Therefore, when you're stuck in your addiction, it leads to disconnection. So the more time you want to spend alone, the more time you disconnect from others, from God, you disconnect from even yourself, the more alone you are with just using that thing to numb your life out, the more you are falling into an addiction. So looking at how isolated you're becoming is a very important indicator of addiction. The next indicator to look at is an inability to cope with life. When emotions come up, when difficulty come up, do you work through those emotions? Do you process them? Or do you look for opportunities to numb? Do you have coping skills to be able to deal with the emotions that come up? Or are you numbing? Are you going to the computer? Are you going to sex? Are you turning to things to just try to escape? If that's what you're doing, then that's a sign of addiction. It's making it so that you're not processing and working through things in your life. The last indicator is broken relationships. Addiction is an attachment disorder, and addiction will start to cause problems in your most important relationships. The people closest to you will have issues with the things that you're doing, and you'll be stuck between knowing that you got to have this addiction, but knowing that your relationships or the people that love you aren't okay with it. And there will be friction there. And you'll start to manipulate things and live in denial and cause problems in your relationships because you need to keep doing this thing. So broken relationships are a sign of addiction. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found it helpful. Now, I've developed a free resource that takes you way more into depth and gives you some real tools to reset your relationship. So please check out the link in the description for that free resource. See you next time.